One and play.
All right, and it looks like we have Spanishiwa spawning in the lower left-hand position and Ver in the upper right-hand position. Now, of course, this being a two-player map, we sometimes see maybe some proxy or some cheese shenanigans. I don't think we're going to see that out of either of these players. Both very solid macro players. And this matchup, man, on this map, I don't know. I mean, who would you give the advantage map-wise on this to?
To be honest, this is, I would probably say, a more Terran map, especially specifically against Terran versus Zerg, because there are just so many cliffs and ledges on this map. Siege tank pushes, any kind of marine tank timing pushes are going to be very, very vital for Ver if he decides to go for that route. But again, Spanishiwa is not an orthodox Zerg player. This guy has a lot of plays in his book. He does not play standard whatsoever. But if he wants to play standard, he'll play standard, but he'll mix in a few Zergling, Baneling busts, just whatever he wants or whatever he feels like doing.
He certainly is capable of that, and that's one of the things that I've liked about Spanishiwa's play. He also kind of invented that, what was it called, the Ice Fisher build, which was a 13 hatch into a 15 pool, gasless build until about 40 food, and you just got a ton of drones, made a lot of spine crawlers for defense, and went there. It looks like he has hit 15 food though, so we will not be seeing that. Maybe we'll be seeing a little bit more of a standard build out of him. And Ver is banking a lot of minerals here. Do you think we might see command center first?
Yeah, he has not thrown down his barracks. He does have the supply depot at the wall, so if he was going to wall it off, he should be throwing down a barracks. But yeah, this actually looks like it is going to be command center first. SCV is getting ready to build a structure, and it is a command center.
Wow, look at that. Kind of a bold play out of him throwing down that CC first, but I really like the placement of the command center. A, he's not hiding anything, but B, the other thing to note is this is a pretty Baneling-proof wall. If he puts, another building behind that supply depot, can pretty easily avoid any bust. Looks like that's not what Spanishiwa is going to do, though. Throwing down that hatch, pool on the way, has not taken a gas yet.
And yeah, very interesting build coming here from Spanishiwa. He did delay that expansion a little bit, but he immediately did throw down the spawning pool. Still no extractor, just as I say that he is going to throw down his extractor. And quick look back at Ver, he will get his barracks up, command center about 50% on the way. So a very, very quick expansion from Ver, and yet throwing down another barracks.
This is, I mean, great play out of Ver. I've seen him do some early Expo builds before, but I'm a big fan of Terran taking that early expansion. It is so hard for Zerg to be aggressive without going all in with Banelings, against this type of play, and it really, really evens the table. Zerg, of course, wants to be that one base up over Terran, and if you can deny them from that, you are in such a good place.
Very good point. And now, Spanishiwa, what is he going to follow this up with? He is getting a pair of Zerglings on the field to give himself a little bit of map control. Two Queens are on the way, and a lot of drones actually in production. So Spanishiwa feeling a little bit safe. It's very obvious that there's not going to be a lot of early pressure coming here from Ver going command center first. So Ver will be able to get his expansion up and going, and Spanishiwa now will get his map control with these two initial Zerglings.
He certainly will. Poking up to the front with those. Looks like he's going to leave one at the high ground. Poke for that. Sees the expansion. Not yet on the low ground. Still up at the top. Both orbitals up now. Double muling in the main. And he does have both gases. Ver, that is. So we could see some tech out of him pretty soon. Wouldn't be surprised to see a factory get started right now as he has hit 100 gas. And Spanishiwa looks like he is just making drones. And drones, of course, are the scariest unit in the game. Because when you get about 80 of them, you can just win.
Basically, man, if you don't want to get your Zerg opponent to have that much time to macro up, just the Larva Inject tool is so, so strong for Zerg. Allows you to remax in such a quick pace. Zerg and Terran players, they have good tools such as Mule Drops and, of course, Chrono Boost. But again, Larva Inject is just so, so good. Once you get your macro up and going, it is very, very hard to stop. And a Roach Warren actually coming down now for Spanishiwa.
I'm a little
So
bit
he
curious about this. I mean, Roaches, he has not seen really any evidence of any Hellion play, and Roaches usually only used against Hellions, but we'll see what he decides to do with this.
And just a quick look at the harvester count, we can see 34 drones are up for Spanishiwa, 27 SCVs for Ver, and now the factory just getting completed for Ver, and a tech lab being added. So this is indeed looking like a marine tank timing coming here from our Terran player. Again, that is just such a strong composition, specifically on this map. And Ver looks to have a little bit of an advantage here with his composition.
Looks like he is pushing out with some Marines here, going to do a little bit of a poke. This is a pretty standard poke, I would feel. Before your tanks arrive, just going to go and see if you can catch the Zerg off guard. But look at all these roaches out by SpaNishiwa pushing through the center of the map. He's going to catch some of these Marines off guard, and I think all of them are going to fall.
Yeah, that's a really good point. A lot of Zerg players have been opening up roaches, and actually the roaches are moving in. They are going to pick off a few of these Marines from Ver. Ver does not have a tank on the field yet. He is getting one in production, but against SpaNishiwa, such a clutch timing coming here with these roaches. 10 roaches on the field for SpaNishiwa, looking like he wants to go for a counterattack.
He could actually do a lot of damage here. There is just the one tank up, and I think that tank is going to fall to some of these roaches. Yes, definitely is going to fall to some of those roaches. And some SCVs going down as well. And SpaNishiwa making 9 drones behind this, so this is not an all-in, just a poke doing some damage. You know, a great timing to move out, as you mentioned.
Yeah, very, very good point. Again, SpaNishiwa quickly realizing he did a decent amount of damage, will get back into macro production of drones. And he is actually going to take that really, really quick third in the bottom right expansion. If Ver does not spot this, it actually could scare trouble for our Terran player. But first tank is out for Ver.
Tank is out. Siege mode about to complete. You know, and of course SpaNishiwa sneaking Overlord in at the same time, sees what's going on, sees that Marine tank style concussive shell, combat shield about to finish, stim likely on the way after that, and making his little supply depot wall, wants to constrict some of that space. And SpaNishiwa finally going up to, you know, more, or I guess finally getting up to 4 gas, getting a Baneling Nest, and double Evos as well. So probably going to go for a heavy ground composition rather than the Mutalisk composition we often see.
And you know, something I really want to point out is the scouting of SpaNishiwa has been superb up till now. He has really, really nice Overlord spread, controlling the map. Any kind of medevac drops, or he even spotted the tech lab from the factory. So he knows exactly what Ver's going for, and just look at his reaction. He is getting a macro hatch. Banelings are going to be in production for those Marines. And Roach Link composition can actually do a decent amount of job against this composition of Ver. And Ver actually looking to move out with a very, very deadly force.
Certainly, I mean, he is pushing through right now. He's got those 2 tanks, the Marauders, and quite a few Marines. That looks like 16 Marines. But SpaNishiwa going for the counterattack. Is Ver's wall going to be finished just in time to block that off? Those Zerglings are going to have to pull back. But this tank siege at the front is going to take out this macro hatch. And I'm not sure if SpaNishiwa can really do anything about it.
And that is just such a bad time for SpaNishiwa. He wanted to do some damage, but Ver moving in here with his 2 tanks, a lot of bio units, takes out the macro hatch. And SpaNishiwa not doing any kind of damage with his Zerglings, looking like he's just going to chill in the middle of the map. A little bit of a mistake here, might be able to use it towards his battle at the natural. But SpaNishiwa pulling off his drones, and Ver quickly taking the supply lead now, 94 to 89 of SpaNishiwa. And that hatchery is going to go down at the natural.
It certainly has. The hatchery has gone down. Of course, SpaNishiwa not on 1 base, has that 2nd base. He's actually getting his lair, very late lair. There, and it looks like we might see a full surround, you know, by all of these lings, banelings, and the lings from the back. But looks like for now, just you know, hanging back, and he lost that natural hatch. I'm not sure if that was the best move. I feel like if he had pincered in a little bit sooner, he might have been able to clean up that attack. But unfortunately, he did lose that hatch, and I would definitely give the advantage to our Terran player.
But again, SpaNishiwa looking like he is committed to this Ling Baneling composition, takes out all of the units of Ver, but at what cost? He lost his hatchery. He's just getting his Larry completed. He is down in expansion, and Ver actually did manage to get a 3rd command center up, which he is floating now to the right side of the map. And Ver looking very, very strong right now.
Yeah, I mean, that command center first build allowed him to get that supply lead. And it looks like Ver loading up into a dropship, heading out toward that 3rd. And it looks like the 3rd is about to be scouted by one of SpaNishiwa's Lings. He sees it going into that, and that's a pretty big Ling Baneling force that could counterattack there. But no, the drop going to come on down, clean up that 1 Ling, and looks like SpaNishiwa is going to go for it. And he will be going after this 3rd base, and this is actually a pretty hard base for Ver to defend.
Yeah, it is. You know, the thing about this map is your main base and your natural are fairly easy to get, but then the 3rd expansion is just so tough to decide whether you want to take that top left expansion or that right expansion. But if he was able to get the planetary fortress up, which he is, But
Just
I think these Zerglings are going to
barely.
kill this. Yeah.
Just barely the Zerglings missed killing it. Those reinforcements were just in time. That mule dropped just at the right moment. And transferring some SCVs now. And Spanish rebuilding that natural hatchery. But I mean, we'll have to see. 3-base Terran versus 3-base Zerg is not a very fun place to be in as the Zerg player.
Yeah, you need to be at least an expansion or two expansions ahead of Zerg to be able to do some kind of damage to Terran. But again, I'm really surprised with the composition that Spanishiwa is going for. He's still making Zerglings. I mean, it's not going to do well against Marine Tank. I'm really, really surprised with this
Well,
composition
I mean,
choice.
I will say he is upgrading his Zerglings. His Zerglings are 1-1, 2-2. You know, or 2 attack will be finishing, and 2 armor is about halfway done. Burrow as well, Infestor's on the way, and this Ling Infestor into Broodlord or Ultralisk style. I mean, we've seen out of, quite a few Zergs throughout this time period. Look at the Spanishiwa, though, morphing some Banelings up at this natural. Maybe wants to break that wall and run some in. And this is, this is the kind of thing you want to do as a Zerg player. You keep your Terran opponent split up. All of his tanks are at the third there. Only has a couple at the natural. And now he has to contest with, a bust at the natural. But a drop at the third going on at the same time. Going to get cleaned up by Infestors and Banelings. But all the same, keeping the multitasking of Spanishiwa taxed. A good way to deal with that counter-aggression.
Yeah, very good points. And now Ver will move out with these 2 tanks and Marines. But look at the supply count, Gwen. We can see 139 for Ver, 99 for Spanishiwa. So he is extremely behind, but very good point with the Infestors. If he gets just a nice fungal on these Marines, he can do so much damage to the bio units. And neural parasiting tanks are pretty damn good. So if that comes in effect, Spanishiwa might actually be able to do something and start a comeback in this game.
Certainly can. I mean, a few good fungals can completely change the tide of a game. We do see
And
one
there is
good
one
fungal,
fungal.
yeah, going down on those Marines, doing a ton of damage. Fungal, of course, next patch getting a little bit of a nerf there, probably needs it. But Spanishiwa against the rope here, getting a hive. Look at this. It's expending the money in a hive, deciding, what, my one chance here is probably to go for tier 3, and I don't quite blame him, but look at this. Burrowed Baneling bombs. We'll have to see if this is effective, or if Ver is really responsible about scanning. Looks like he is. Takes out 2 of them, and now he's going to know that this is what is going on.
And yeah, Ver very, very smart with his scan. Looks like he wants to move into the 3rd expansion of Spanishiwa, right where the hive is getting started. Spine crawlers are coming down, but it is just not going to be in time. Ver, again, quickly ahead in supply. These Banelings trying to do damage against these bio units, but again, another nice scan from Ver. Will clean up these Banelings.
We do have some Infestors here, burrowing underneath, throwing up a lot of infested Terran, getting the tanks to friendly fire on themselves. A great tactic, of course. Throwing up a lot more. I don't know if those would be better used on fungals, but he is going to go ahead and use them on that, and cleaning up a lot of the tanks these infested Terran are. But that hive is so low on health, it needs to be defended. The queen had fallen earlier, and this looks like a last-ditch effort to me, pulling all the drones, more infested Terran going down. But it looks like Spanishiwa will fold. He will clean up that first wave, but another wave coming straight from Ver. Does it end?
It is not going to end because Ver is so far ahead. Spanishiwa barely holding this. Even forced to pull drones. Zergling Banelings are not going to do enough against this. He needs more Infestors. He desperately needs Broodlord tech any minute now. And Ver actually is going to lose a little bit of Marines. But again, nice micro from Ver pulling back against these Banelings. Banelings are not good against siege tanks. And Ver still committed to taking out this 3rd expansion of Spanishiwa.
I think once he saw that it was the hive, he realized what he had to do, and he is doing a phenomenal job. Spanishiwa looks like going to lose some Infestors without a fungal. No, the fungal does go down, but this hive is going to go down so fast. The tanks and the Marines, oh, a good Baneling hit finally, but will it be enough? No, the hive has 100 life left, 90 life. It will go down, and I think that spells the end of it for Spanishiwa. I would not be surprised to see a GG at any moment.
Yeah, Ver just playing this absolutely beautifully. He's taking his third fairly early. He's still putting on so much pressure here onto Spanishiwa. Spanishiwa does have 12 links in production. He's doing very good on his upgrades, getting his ground carapace levels 3 as well as his melee attacks, but he just does not have enough units to do anything against what Ver has. And again, Spanishiwa is desperate for expansions, trying to take this left side of the map, but 2 Marines are going to be there to be able to take this out.
Yeah, the two Marines. I mean, look at this. He's being so responsible about scouting. Sends another Marine up to take out that Overlord so he can take his fourth base. Ver is all over the place, going to pressure that other expansion going down for Spanishiwa, just moving across the map. And so well defended everywhere. And oh, ghosts are out on the field. This will definitely be the end of this. We have 3 ghosts here with enough energy for EMP, and ghosts are pretty good against infestors. I'm not sure if
Ghosts
you'd
are
agree.
amazing against infestors. They snipe infestors so quickly. And Ver basically saying, hey man, Spinicio, I'm gonna seal the deal with these ghosts. You can bring infestors, but hey man, this game is over. Ver again, a lot of good games. Good game coming in from
And then
Spinicio.
GG out of Spanish. And that is, you know, that style of Zerg that he was playing there, that Ling Infester style, you know, popular a little bit ago. But Terrans with the early expansions against that kind of style, I think that it might not be cost effective enough if you engage in bad places. And this map is really just full of bad places for Zerg to engage in.
Yeah, it's not a good map for Zerg players at all. You know, you have to do something completely out of the ordinary to be able to win against Terran on that map. But against Benicio, I went for that Zergling Infestor composition. He had beautiful upgrades on his melee units,
Mm-hmm.
but Ver just completely reading Spinichua, taking out the third, committed to the Marine tank. Even Ghost came in there against the
Mm-hmm.
Infestors, but there wasn't any Infestors because Spinichua did not have the economy to be able to produce that tier 3 tech.
Certainly not. And I mean, I wish we would have seen a longer game out of either of these players. But you know what? We have more games to go. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording and let's jump straight into game 2.